I pity the fool. Stay in drugs. Drink school. Don't do milk.
All right. That's as good as it's gonna get. The whitest Mr. T impersonator.
I didn't have time to work up a Mr. T impression.
It's not like homework or anything.
Impressions aren't just easy. You don't just watch somebody and immediately
You shave a mohawk into your hair and stand in front of the mirror. Just wear a shower curtain around your neck.
Towel, a gold towel. You're just pointing in the mirror. I gotta walk up at a school gym doing something athletic and just going, "Hey, you!"
Just start screaming sage advice at children.
Eat your greens.
Hi, welcome to Entertain This, episode 49, a podcast about movies, TV shows, and video games. I am Hayden, and with me I have
Tom
and Mitch.
And Mitch. Hashtag cancel Mitch.
Hashtag cancel Mitch.
This week, I was supposed to review a punishment about Mr. T, but
And he deliberately did not.
Right.
To be fair,
This is the first time a punishment hasn't been done.
yeah, I got a lot of crap going on. There's a lot of stuff
And to
going
be fair, I reminded you for
Excuses.
3 days straight.
Yes, I know. Okay, I got a lot of stuff going on outside it. But to make up for it, though, I'm getting punished doubly. So I have to do the Mr. T show and then whatever kooky crap you guys throw at me at the end of this episode. So there will be a reckoning. In the meantime, though, we still have our social media merch.
All right, we have on Buzzsprout is entertain this ! Twitter, we're at this.entertain. On Patreon, you can find us as entertain this ! On Instagram, we're entertain.this. And on Facebook, we have our Entertain This podcast group, and we also have the Entertain This page. Soon, we will have an our entertainthispodcast.com.
Yep, we bit the bullet and got a website. I worked on it forever. Oh, my gosh. It's just so much work.
Yeah,
I can immediately tell you're lying.
It was all Mitch. He did a really good job with it.
We got a few things to finish up, and then we'll put it out.
Evil Entertain This have a website?
No,
No.
they suck. So
That's why they're evil.
We just did that slow Peter Griffin camera turn where he just looks directly at the camera. It's just like, oh, they don't have one?
But when that goes live, what will the website feature?
It'll have all of our podcast episodes where you can just click, scroll through. We'll have some media, like any kind of trailer, new movie trailers, any kind of our game footage, anything like that we play. Hopefully, eventually, we'll have some merchandise that you could purchase if you wanted to.
Yeah,
Merch.
And then I don't know. We'll have to see what else we can put on there. What all we can find to entertain people.
Well, it'll be live by the time this episode publishes, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
I think just put it out there, and then if people have suggestions, because there's a lot of tech savvy people that
Edit the
listen to us.
website.
Yeah. They could throw some suggestions at you.
I do want to say a shout out to our listeners in France
Yes.
for being consistently.
Yeah, our one
Bonjour.
person that listens to every episode.
That one guy out there somewhere in France.
We love you, man, or woman, or whatever.
Maybe he's just making fun of us. He's just
Could be,
laughing with his friends. Like, look at these dirty Americans.
But it's one listen. It's a download. That's all that matters.
Well, we appreciate it. So, all right, cool. We'll be interested in seeing what kind of feedback we get on the website. Let's move on to movies. Who watched a movie?
I watched a movie.
What movie did you watch?
I watched The Ghost and the Darkness.
Is that a movie about ghosts in the dark?
No, there is no ghosts.
What a misleading title.
There is no ghosts, although there are occasions where it is dark. So I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Stars Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas.
It's one of Val Kilmer's.
I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a line.
Apparently, people panned the movie when it came out, and I remember watching it the first time going, that was a really good movie, but apparently...
I didn't like it?
It was directed by Stephen Hopkins, came out in 1996. And it's based on a true story about the Savo lion man-eaters. Yeah. Where a whole crew building a railroad and a bridge were stalked by lions who killed them for sport.
Right. What time did Lion King come out? Might have been bad release time.
Might have been a bad timing.
Everybody's all about lions, and then this movie's like kill lions.
This movie's like lions killing people, and then they're like, oh, we got to call on these people to hunt them down.
Yeah.
So it takes place somewhere in Africa. That say it's somewhere in Africa.
Yeah, it's a big continent, but okay.
It's a big continent. It's a very large place, I'm told. So Val Kilmer gets hired to go build a bridge, and then he gets there and like, oh yeah, we're having problems with the local wildlife, particularly this lion that's killing people. And he's like, okay. His first night there, he shoots the lion in the face and kills it.
Wow.
Victory. And everything's going great. They make him a necklace of the claws. He's the big cheese
and
now.
The Giga Lion shows up.
Yeah, wins the respect of the workers and all the people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lion's brothers come to town and F stuff up.
Yeah, they go Boys in the Hood on him.
Because it's like true, like in like I was reading about the actual incident where the lions started attacking people like at night. One of them would creep in and they would just drag people right out of their tents and into the woods and kill them and then leave.
Wow.
And then it got to the point where both lions would show up on opposite ends of the camps, and then they just started doing stuff in broad daylight.
Wow.
It didn't matter what they tried to do. Like one lion they shot like 14 times, couldn't kill it.
Wow.
So
strong lion.
They're very strong lion or very weak guns.
Yeah, probably.
Also possible.
I would assume that most guns in Africa are not very weak. I
mean, they're designed to kill elephants.
That makes sense where they developed the elephant gun.
Yeah.
What caliber is it? Yes. It takes two people to fire it. One holds the gun and shoots it. The other guy stands behind you so you don't go flying into the woods.
It'll open a window in your house.
So, yeah, the lions attack everybody. They bring in Michael Douglas, who's like a renowned lion hunter, to sort out the problem. And then it's their escapades, and then the lions just murder rampage. And they're like, these aren't normal lions. Like, normal lions don't do this. These lions are on a mission, which apparently is like an African fable called The Ghost in the Darkness, which is what the lions are called.
Yeah.
But you can actually see the lions. The guy, Val Kilmer plays John Henry Patterson. The lions that they killed, he had them like stuffed and preserved. One of them used to be his area rug before they had it redone. But they're on display in the museum in Chicago.
Huh.
Wow.
But they're like the maneless lions, so they just look like really, really big cats.
I'm sure that it's that offended somebody. But whatever.
Lions?
Yeah.
The lion community,
yeah.
I'm sure, is going to...
Yeah, the fact that they're stuffed and on display for your museum.
They've been dead since 1898.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter that they've killed people, okay? You shouldn't just, prostrate some corpse up there.
Because like in the movie, they're like, oh yeah, the lions killed like 140-something people. And then they're like, and then like a historical account was like, all right, they documented killed at least 40-something people.
So they killed at least 40 people.
Between like 32 to 45 people.
That's still a lot of people. Yeah.
But they didn't count like a lot of the workers because, colonial racism.
Oh.
So that was like
those
scores of, the black workers or the Indian workers or whatever. And they're just like, doesn't count.
Wow.
It's like, but it killed all those guys.
That's crazy. So Val Kilmer was notoriously terrible on movie sets as far as like his attitude and working with people. Was there any stories that you read?
Reading the production notes for this, like he had just gotten done doing The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh yeah.
So he was like frizzled from that. Didn't have a lot of chance to read up on the character, get into it. But apparently, like once he got on set, like everybody liked him. He dove like headfirst into the project. Reading and doing as much as he could.
Yeah,
and trying to make it right.
A jerk on Island of Dr. Moreau. Him and Brando both were incapable. They just couldn't work together, and so that's wild.
That's why I was looking up some of the notes here for the movie, and like he said, he just got off the Island of Dr. Moreau shoot, and then Stephen Hopkins was saying that they had people bit by snakes, scorpions, some kind of tick bite fever. People were struck by lightning, floods, torrential rains,
cars falling off cliffs.
Well, there was hippos chasing people through the waters.
Yeah.
They had he said this is like the worst conditions he's ever shot a movie.
They could have just filmed them filming the movie and went like the Ghost in the Darkness. This is what happens when you try to shoot a movie in the middle of goddamn Africa.
There's a documentary about the Island of Dr. Moreau and the making of it, and that's far more entertaining than the actual movie.
Yes.
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah.
Well, they said that there's several people that died, and at least 2 of them drowned from their cars getting swept into the water.
Yeah.
What? Making that movie?
Yes.
I call it a day when somebody dies. I mean,
let alone multiple. It's like
they said several, and including 2 drowning. So I'm assuming it's more than 2 people died.
Several.
And then some lions actually showed up and started killing the crew.
The director's like, "All right, well, you get their cut. Stick around.
Just a bigger portion of the pie."
You haven't seen this movie, or
I have.
You have.
A long time ago.
I have. It's been a real long time ago. Probably when it originally came out.
I mean, like critics panned the movie. I remember seeing it the first time. Like, that was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a 90s. You could tell it's a 90s movie, but
yeah.
I mean, I thought the characters were good, the setting, the way that the pacing of the movie was also.
It's a movie you couldn't make today.
You know those ferocious lions? They were also the same, like the fake lions that they were trained or whatever, were also the same ones used in George of the Jungle.
The fake lions.
Well, like they're not like really vicious. They're trained.
They're still lions.
They're still lions.
That's what I'm saying. They're trained. I mean, they're not.
Because when the lions were killing, like, I guess dummy stuff with, like, cow meat or whatever they had, their special effects were, they looked pretty upset.
Yeah.
And not, like, upset at their working conditions and wanted to go back to their little lion trailer. Like, upset at the people. And there was a lot of rage in that lion's face when he bit that guy.
I heard there were dogs dressed up as lions, and a lot of people got offended because they couldn't hire actual lions to portray lions.
I mean, it was because of the lion strike in 1995. We all know that. They had
that's what Lion King was made for, retribution for all that. So.
That was a pro-lion movie.
Yep, everything became good after that.
They're just like, everybody hates us. Remember when we used to be the MGM lion? Everybody thought we were cool. Then they go and make this movie.
All right, what news have you?
Mission Impossible 7
is
coming out this year in November.
Yeah.
November 19th.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
Impossibilarious.
There's nothing like I couldn't find about the plot or whatever, but obviously
I bet you it involves.
They all reprise their roles. There's a bunch of newer stars in the movie, like
Tom Cruise will run from something.
Tom Cruise will run.
He'll run with his weird like.
Oh, there was a trailer. And it was like Tom Cruise running a lot.
Yeah. An explosion will happen.
He will do some sort of odd, defying stunt that. His insurance carrier is probably just like they just close their eyes and go, please tell us if he lives.
All right, guys, strap me to a rocket.
We're going to the moon.
Mission Impossible moon. Lunar assault.
And I'm just like, Mission Impossible, like the first one was cool. The second and third one were like, eh.
The second one's terrible, the John Woo one.
Yeah. And then it was like years between 3 and 4.
No, it was years between 2 and 3. J.J. Abrams did 3, and then that kind of sparked it back into fruition.
And then they did 4, which was good. Then 5 was good. Or like Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation.
I don't know.
All these other Rogue Agent, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
Those were cool movies. Those were good.
Yeah.
Like it was just a good watching, action flick.
Yeah, it's mindless.
It is kind of mindless. And then you just go, wow, Tom Cruise is hanging on the side of that building in Dubai. It's like Tom Cruise is holding on the side of a plane. It's like, what's he going to do next? It's like Tom Cruise beats up giant octopus who has the plans for the Death Star.
Yeah, I mean, we probably shouldn't give out any crazy notes. They might steal it. So,
well, no, they already announced the sequel to this movie.
Yeah. Well, I knew that the director had a deal because Empire magazine interviewed him, and he did confirm with them that he's got like a 2-movie deal for more Mission Impossibles. Missions Impossible.
Missions.
Well, like you said in this one, this is the movie that he like went off on a bunch of people for the COVID procedures or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
and people were just like, oh, he's just taking it seriously. It's like, it's a little bit of an over-exaggeration. Like, he could have handled that better than like Leah Remini. It's just like, it's Scientology. That's why it's staged. He's doing it. I'm just like, okay, calm down, crazy
I
pants.
mean, to be fair, there was the first AAA movie that was back into production, and everybody was watching to see. Like, there was a lot of competition that was hoping that they would get a mass infection and then fail, just so like they wouldn't be the first ones to have a movie in production and be successful. So Tom Cruise, being an executive and all that stuff, he had a lot of pressure on him, and it's not like he fired anybody. He just threatened to fire a bunch of people, which is better than actually firing.
Well, it says like 5 to 6 of them just quit. They said screw it.
I bet. I bet they did.
Supposedly, Tom Cruise paid £500,000 to isolate his crew on a cruise ship, just so they wouldn't get it for a little while. I guess.
I mean, to Tom Cruise now, that's got to be like what, $20?
500,000 pounds. That's like $600,000. So the pound's worth more than a dollar.
Yeah, but I mean, his net worths and all the movies. I mean, he's got movies that haven't even come out yet.
Yeah,
like Top Gun.
Yeah, that's been done for a minute now. So
Tom Cruise, like even like COVID can't stop that, man.
They should put the James Bond movie and a Mission Impossible movie.
They should just drop the Bond movie on YouTube and tell nobody.
There it is.
No ads, no nothing. It's just out there.
But they should put both of them out at the same time, and then let's just see. Let's see which one. See which one wins.
Supposedly, one of the
I mean,
big
why
stunts for this new movie is him riding a motorcycle off a cliff and parachuting to the ground. That's something they've seen.
No, that's kind of they've done that in Bond.
Isn't that 2? Mission Impossible 2? Didn't
Well, this says that they're doing that in this one too. That was one of the things.
Now, if he lands on a moving train, that's like going to explode cart by cart as he runs.
Warzone tactics. Then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then
Life thing.
All right. That's movie news. Unless you have anything else.
Godzilla vs. Kong comes out in 10 days.
And that's going to be on HBO, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And Snyder Cut in 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, technically Wednesday at 2 a.m. if you're up, but
which you will be.
Mitch has got it down to the
He's got his bat suit ready.
Did you download a phone app that like counts down to the Snyder Cut or something like that?
No, but that is a good idea.
Jots that down in notebook.
All right. TV news.
All right. Well, I watched on HBO Max the show Warrior. Yeah. Which is based off of the Tong Wars in the late 1800s, it's kind of like Peaky Blinders, but a Chinese version of it in San Francisco.
That's a good,
because I mean, it's basically like these warring factions trying to take over the opium business in Chinatown, basically.
Yeah,
and it was pretty good. It's based
Chinatown in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's based off a concept that was written by Bruce Lee, but it's kind of like the Kung, I guess. Originally, it was turned into the Kung Fu of the 1970s. That TV series,
David Carradine.
Yeah, but this is more to the actual story that he wrote.
Why did Bruce Lee not get the Kung Fu TV show?
Well, he's dead.
No, back in the 70s. Why?
Oh yeah, because you said that they didn't think a Chinese man could carry the series by themselves.
Yeah, he couldn't be the face of the series back in the 70s. So they took his writings. And they made it to whatever they wanted it to, and they hired Carradine, who's not even a martial artist, I don't think.
Not at the time, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's dumb. Sad, yeah.
But in preparation, I might hatchet some of these names.
All right.
But you have like the main character is Assam, and he's like he joins the Hopway, which is the hatchet men or whatever is what they called them. His sister is part of. Her name's Mai Ling. They're part of, I forgot the name of the other faction, but she's like the wife of the other leader in the beginning.
Yeah.
And basically they're just killing each other over who gets to import opium, who gets to sell it.
The Hatchet Clan, do they do like the whole clink thing like in Cobra?
Oh, Cobra.
No. They all do walk around in suits. They have this little red handkerchief. And as they get ready to fight, they whip out the hatchet off their belt and get ready to
start chopping away.
It is really good action scenes though for a TV show. You wouldn't expect it.
Yeah,
some of them are kind of cheesy sometimes.
Quarter Crew has reviewed I think that show twice now.
I know at least once
on their Stuntmen React, and they talk a lot about how insane it is for stunt actors, or they're not even called stunt actors. They're full blown. Actors because they do their own stunts, their fight scenes, and they also do all of their acting, and the amount of work it takes to do the choreographing for all the crazy fight, because there's always at least a fight in every episode.
Yeah, at least one.
Well, you got it.
And
Kung Fu show.
Yeah, and then to do all the drama and stuff like that, it's just gonna eat your year up, So it's an impressive,
Is the fighting as impressive as that Scrubs bit? Where they fight all the ninja surgeons?
Never seen Scrubs.
No, you should watch that. It's great.
Tom just wanted to showcase his Scrubs knowledge, but anyways, so it's a really well shot show. The camera work and the choreography and stuff like that, it's pretty fun to watch.
And there's a couple of different things all the characters. None of them, all but one are not from China. One guy is from Hong Kong, the rest are from Canada and London and all that stuff.
Yeah, they speak really good English.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're mostly Western. Asian descent. So,
and then for the show, the way they kind of showcase the Chinese language and stuff, when the Chinese characters are talking to each other, it's for the audience it just sounds like normal English. And then when the Chinese characters talk to an English or American or whatever other nationality, you can hear the accent in their English. So it just to kind of differentiate. Yeah. So you're not having to read subtitles all the time.
That's easy.
It's a Skinamax show, right?
It was the first season, and then HBO picked it up for the second season.
Skinamax?
Yeah, because the Cinemax rule, they have to have nudity in every episode and stuff like that.
There are.
Like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's pretty much that, and that's why it's called Skinemax.
But it's had 2 seasons so far, and the last season was 2020, so they're setting up for a 3rd season to start. A couple of the actors are actually going to be in the Mortal Kombat movie because of their martial arts and stuff.
And what time period does this take place? The 70s?
Late 1800s.
Oh, late 1800s.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like when the Chinese were getting brought over to,
to do.
Technically they weren't slaves, but they
railroad.
were like slave labor, just paying them minimum, just to go do the railroads
And
and
the
shoot
Irish
lines.
in a rubber band.
The Irish hate them because they got undercut, and then
Yeah, so you have the Irish faction that's just like mad because they're taking all the jobs, so they kind of start riots and stuff like that.
It's kind of silly though when the Irish people start fighting the Chinese people because they'll start the Chinese people will do all their crazy kicks and stuff like that, and then the Irish people will just like throw a kick out of nowhere, and you're like, no, they don't know how to kick.
The Irish people got their barroom brawl tactics,
Yeah.
and you got the Chinese over there doing martial arts, and you're thinking, something doesn't seem right.
It's like technically they should win on paper, but the Irish are probably all drunk, so they're probably not going to feel pain.
And the body count that racks up this show. I want to know what the population of San Francisco is back in the 1870s because I feel like they went through it 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, because they have a couple of like full out, all out brawls just in the street, with just people left laying at the end.
Yeah.
So
there's a little embellished history.
it's a fun show. Like the IMDb has it, I think 8.2 or 8.3 out of 10.
Solid rating.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good show. It's fun to watch. I found out that the gay lady that's like the madam of like the prostitution saloon or whatever. What do you call it?
Yeah. The brothel.
She was actually a real character, like a real person. Like her name was Atoy, and she was real like back in the day. So they based her off a semi-real character.
Running the whorehouse.
Yeah, pretty much. But we'll move on to my news. Jack Reacher has a TV series coming out
Ew.
with Alan Richardson.
Who's that?
The guy
Thad
from Blue
Castle?
Mountain State.
He's gonna play Jack Reacher.
Yes,
That idiot.
Mojitos!
To be so
I can't
he's the Thad guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. To be fair, the Jack Reacher in the books was this giant.
He's like
dude.
6'6".
And they did say that's why he got cast, was because he does physically, he fits it more than most of the other people that.
Well, then Tom Cruise is like
definitely.
4'2".
Yeah,
You know.
The Hobbit. That is Tom Cruise.
But supposedly it'll adapt each book in the Jack Reacher series, like each series
Season.
or each season.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It'll do one a season, and then it's supposed to release in 2022, which it should be on Amazon.
I can't picture him being Jack.
Yeah.
Reacher. He doesn't have that serious. Like,
Yeah, no, I've seen
streak.
him in other serious roles, and he just seems like he's being goofy. Like he's trying to be serious, but you still see him as that.
Well, that's what
Castle.
kind of screwed John Krasinski being the
Jack Ryan.
character, and I couldn't get into that either.
Well, because like he's in the show Titans as Hawkman, or no, as Hawk, which he's just like this gravelly, beat him up guy that he's been doing like drugs and stuff to try and heal his body because he's just a human. He's not special powers or nothing. So he just doesn't. Something seems off when you watch him trying to be serious. I don't know.
Because I just see him. I'm just like, Dad.
Yeah.
Dad.
And also a future punishment for Tom. Powerpuff Girls is getting made into a live action series on the CW.
That'll be fun.
It'll have the main. I forgot the other two characters.
Jojo.
Well, the main girl, Blossom, was that the first one? Is that the red
That's
one?
the red one.
Yeah.
She's going to be the girl from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with like the main character. I don't know her name. Something Daisy.
I only know because I had to watch the Powerpuff Girls movie for a punishment. So.
But at least that was like, what, an hour?
It was a long hour. And I was like, what is going on?
What's going on?
But yeah, they're going to have a CW show of that that comes out sometime next year.
I wonder if the pickle stand will reappear.
Batwoman has been renewed for season 3 for some reason.
God, why?
Why not?
I didn't even watch season 2 because I watched the one episode and it was like an hour and a half and I was like, that's enough.
They should just have another Batwoman show up, like just a third one, just spontaneous. No, don't even address it.
Because the other, what's her face, Ruby Rose or whatever.
Yeah, she quit, and
she
they
quit,
hired a black lady. They should hire like a Native American lady, and she'll just be Batwoman.
An Eskimo.
Yeah, and don't even address it. Yeah,
it'd be nice to see some of the other, even if they're going to do all girl stuff. Have Cassandra Cain show up. She's Asian American, and she's pretty much like. When she showed up, she could handle her own against Batman. So
I just want it where Batman comes back, finds out all these girls pilfer through all of his stuff, and he just beats the ever-loving snot out of everybody.
Alfred.
And he's just like, Batman's here for revenge. Alfred, what did you do? Why'd you let them touch my stuff?
But yeah, that's all I had for TV news for now.
Okay. Well, I played a game.
What'd you play?
I played a game called Yakuza. Like a Dragon, since we're all on this Asian kick right now. But I've been playing this game for a minute. And it's actually a really fun game. It was made by Sega. And this is the 6th or 7th Yakuza game since the series had started. It's the first one I ever played. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's the first one that kind of diverges from a main character. I don't know the name of the character from the previous games, but this one, his name is Ichiban, which is like hero or something like that in Japanese. So everybody laughs at his name whenever he introduces himself. You know, they don't think he's serious, but he does take his like mantle very seriously to the point where like, okay, so the plot of the game is you go to prison for a crime you didn't commit for 18 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah. He comes out, he's like 41, and you try and like find out why your Yakuza clan screwed you and stuff like that. And then you go through a series of, you're basically like the bottom of society. And it's very like it takes an RPG stance at like Japanese classing.
It doesn't have like society. An anime kind of style to it.
It does.
Okay.
You know how anime like will not let you miss a beat of emotion until they beat it to death and like let you understand vehemently what is going on. It's that, you know. So when a guy is mad that his boss won't talk to him from his old Yakuza clan, he's like, you know, just in a room beating the walls and ranting for 15 minutes. And we're like, all right, I get it, man. You're mad. You know, let's go do something about it. You know, but
go beat him up.
he wants to cry for a little bit. But anyways, so it's very much got that anime kind of appeal, but the RPG like gameplay mechanics are fun because like you start off with no social class whatsoever. So you're essentially a hobo, and you live with a bunch of hobos, you know. And then like when you go to I don't know whatever their welfare like working find you a job thing is in Japan. I think it's called Hello Work, is what it is. When you go to that, you get a job, and then your class changes from hobo to like, you know, janitor or something like that, and then you get like a level up happy noise and stuff like that. It's funny and mundane, just like simple. But everybody in Japan wants to beat you up for some reason. So you have to like walk around and you gain parties. Like one of my party members is a cop that got fired and a fellow hobo. And they all have like abilities that are like akin to their history.
Diseased syringe shank.
No, the hobo has putrid breath. So he breathes on the bad guys and then they get all grossed out and their defense lowers. Okay, and then you can beat the crap out of him better. The cop has like heavy beat down, and he just like
pulls out a blackjack.
Yeah, he pulls out a baton and beats the crap out of people and stuff like that. It's funny. And then like you can interchange all your weapons and clothes and stuff like that.
Spatulas to vacuum stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely an M-rated game. There's brothels that are called like Soapland. So I went and I found a sex shop that sold devices. And one of them was a vibrator that I could use as a clubbing weapon. So that's my weapon now. So I just run around and beat the crap out of people. Hey, it gave me +10 to attack. So
I want to hear it. It had great stats.
Great stats. So, but there's so many like subtle
like a reload where you pop the batteries out.
No, there's so much subtle jokes and stuff like that. Like you can go to vocational school, and I took like the first test. It was sports history, and it made me answer questions about sports history. I'm like, crap, I'm not prepared for this test. So I'm like Googling as fast as I can about, you know, what is the left wing of a soccer movement, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, and then if you fail, you have to pay money to take the test again. If you pass, your skills increase and you like get reputation increasing and stuff like that. So that's pretty funny. And then there's this random crazy professor guy. His name is like Professor Jokes or something. I can't remember what his name is, but he's the spoof of the Pokemon professor. All right. And so after I beat the crap out of this homeless guy, he shows up and he was like, takes a picture of him and then he pays me money to go around and take pictures of everybody else that I beat up. They're called Sweegee-mon. Yeah. Sweegee means like bad guy. So, mon. And so he's like, yeah, take pictures of this. And I have like a Sweegee decks of all of these people that I got to go around and beat up. And it adds to my Pokédex, and I take it to him, and he pays me money for it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's
so Hayden won't play Pokemon Go, but he'll go around and take pictures of dead bums and stuff.
They're not dead.
Up.
They're just beating up with my vibrator. It's a wild game, but it's funny. It's a lot of fun. It's so big too, because like I barely started it, and I'm like 30 hours into it. And but like I haven't even met all the party members that you can interchange and stuff like that. And there's tons of side quests. Like one side quest was the cops asked me to find a mysterious river urinator. So like I found 4 dudes that looked like they were peeing in the river, but I had to before I caught the guy, I had to analyze the stance of the 4 of them and figure out which one had a legit peeing stance before it. And I guess wrong, all right, because this guy wasn't shaking the right way.
What the hell?
So I picked, and he turns around, and he's like texting on his phone or something like that. He's like, "What do you want?" And everybody else scatters, and I was like, "Darn it, I got to come back in an hour." So I come back, and I like sit there for like 5 minutes, and I'm watching. And I was like, that guy's shaking the right way. So I go up to him, and I tap him, and he turns around, and he's peeing and stuff like that. And I'm like, I got you. And I beat the crap out of him. The cops took him away.
So you watched a man pee for 15 minutes.
Well, I had to figure out.
I tried to deduce.
That was the mini game.
Which one was peeing?
You had to look at the back of him.
There was no stream?
No, you can't, because it's directly, like, the way the camera positions it. It's all about, like, the stance and stuff like that. So, you know, it was a funny little.
Where's the one who's going, oh. Been holding that in all day.
My question is, why were the other ones standing so close?
That was the gimmick of the game, I guess. I don't know.
Apparently, people do that in Japan.
Pee in the river. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just
groups.
A whole like the most mundane, like everyday life stuff. They take it and they blow it out of proportion in a Japanese RPG kind of sense, and that's they make fun of themselves doing it, and it's hilarious. So. Every time I start playing, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get in this game. And I start playing it, and I play for like 3 hours straight. So
this game sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I might give this one a play.
It got amazing reviews in the East, and then it got really good reviews here. It got a 10 on Game Ranks or something like that, and then mostly 8s or 9s out of everybody else. So it's a lot of fun. It's actually came out originally for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. In January 2020, and then just re-released it with better graphics and stuff like that for the new consoles, and it looks really good. Like the detail, every like for instance, they have this guy who looks like Mr. Miyagi from Karate Kid, and he's got like the heavy like Asian like folded eyes, and when he moves and emotes, you can see the skin folds move on top of each other, and I'm just like, I'm not even paying attention. I'm just so amazed at how well the face moves and stuff like that.
His skin flaps move.
His terry flaps. Don't do it.
That's just,
but every
be a long beat.
But yeah, every individual hair follicle. It's a really good game, and it's really pretty. It has all the ray tracing and all that jazz. So. I give it a 9. I'm really enjoying it, and I'll play it through to the end and see what happens. The story's fun too, so like I said, it can be a little over the top with the what they're emoting to, but whatever. There you go. So my news. I don't know. Ask me something about Halo Infinite. I've done so much reading.
Halo.
Ask me. Yeah, ask me. Go ahead.
When's it coming out?
Nobody knows. Right now, it's projected for fall of this year. They still don't have a release date. So,
what's the most recent update to the game that we've like, you know, something got added, they found out about this, you can't do this.
Yeah, you can kick people off the side of the Halo.
That is amazing.
That's funny.
So you can yeet people into space.
Oh, yep. So, they've described it as a not quite open world game. I don't know what that means, but basically you go do a mission and then you have to follow in a linear path to do and complete that mission. Then you can come back and then go from there to all the other missions you've accomplished at that time. It's open, I guess. You can go back and wander around and explore and stuff like that.
Well, that's kind of like Destiny, you said.
Yeah, pretty much. There's no dual wielding.
Boo.
Yeah.
Master Chief forgot how to do it.
You can't play as any of the elites, and
so I'm guessing no arbiter.
No arbiter, and it has a dynamic day cycle, but not a weather cycle. I don't think it might have rain, but it doesn't have like snow and sandstorms or anything crazy like that. But there's talks about updating the weather cycle after the game comes out. Oh, I don't know. Some people were really upset about that.
The game hasn't come out yet. Why not just go ahead and do that?
Yeah, right. Well, they're still probably trying to finish the base game because it's like, what's taking so damn long?
Because the graphics were so crappy.
Yeah, they got laughed at.
Yeah, they got laughed at, so they delayed the game for over a year now.
Yeah.
So redoing it.
There's that. We'll see what happens with that one. What else do I have? Oh, let's talk about Roblox.
What is Roblox?
What is Roblox? I don't know, but it's worth like $65 billion. Okay, it's worth more than Ubisoft and other. What was the other game company?
Fortnite.
Fortnite's worth $17 billion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ubisoft's worth like 50, and then Warzone's only $1 billion. You know, but I mean only $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean Warzone's worth that, but what's Call of Duty worth?
I mean, you have to. Like, what do you consider Call of Duty? All of the games?
The franchise.
I have no idea.
I'll look that up.
No idea. But $65 billion. Well, apparently Roblox is a game. It's kind of like Mario Maker on steroids. You make your level, and then you make people play your level, and they want to. And I guess it works. So it's like Minecraft, I guess, but you can program your level more in depth or whatnot. I don't know. It looks like the graphics themselves, they look like goofy little Lego dudes running around, and it's hard to look at. Ugh. I don't know if I want my kid.
I mean, is it like Minecraft? You said.
I guess so. I don't know much beyond what the marketing for it is and like what the premise of the game. They said it's a level designing game that you can design just about anything with as much coding as you can like understand. So like there's base like game made coding that you don't even know that you're actually coding anything.
Yeah.
And then there's like you can get even deeper into the coding and stuff like that. So and then you have people play your game after that. And I guess it works a lot because tons of kids are doing that right now. But the community apparently was really toxic for a kid game. They spent a ton of money on trying to cleanse.
Yeah, they hired like 1,600 people to like filter and do crap. And I found some stats here about like how much Call of Duty actually makes in a day.
All right, go ahead.
194 million pounds.
Wow.
A day.
Wow. So that's like over $200 million. That's
a day.
That's a lot of money.
And that's just like, and that's like the past 8 days in lockdown. So these are old. This is from June of last year. So they make $3 million.
Well, I wonder if they slowed down or picked up since then.
This here says that the Call of Duty franchise is worth about $9.7 billion.
Oh, it's $9 billion now?
Yeah. Well, worth like Call of Duty.
The whole franchise. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what Roblox is doing that intrigues so many people, but
I don't know what it is.
I don't really know what it is
either. It's like that bit on SNL. It's like, what is burn notice? Someone just tell me.
I just saw that it blew up, and that it's outshining all these like AAA game companies like Ubisoft and stuff like that. I mean, Bethesda got bought for $7 billion. Yeah, so I mean, I guess Microsoft can't afford Roblox. I don't know.
I mean, I'd heard of Roblox, but I have no idea what it was. I'd heard of the name of the game, but that was it.
I don't know. And I've seen like some like weird videos on YouTube that I didn't understand what it was, and I've just like seen like the content was kind of crazy for a kid's game, But I guess that's the point, is you can make it whatever you want it to be. So
sounds like nonsense Minecraft.
Yeah, I probably still wouldn't let my kids play around with it because it seems like there's a lot of trash people that make crap on there they shouldn't. So
yeah, I have stories I could tell you, not on here.
Okay,
for a later time.
But it's interesting that these sandbox games are basically dominating the market, and I wonder if that's going to be the future for all video games. Is we make it for you. The developers just release a tool set, and we build whatever we want, and that'll be Warzone in 10 years. Is the audience makes their own Warzone map. and whichever one's on
would
top.
be kind of neat. Man.
That would be cool.
So, speaking of which, Rockstar paid a modder $10,000 for fixing a patch that enabled the loading screens to load like 10 times faster.
Huh.
So, I think that's fascinating that gaming companies are basically just giving it to the audience now. Hey, here's our source code. Figure out the problems with our game, and we'll pay you for it. It's just like,
well, I mean, they should let the modders, even if they have to pay them to let the modders have it all like available to everyone to buy.
Yeah,
because like I've seen some people with the GTA, they've had like a character like the Flash, where you could be the Flash on GTA or the Hulk or Superman or whatever. That would be cool.
Like
I mean,
their whole online thing, like the racetracks, all the setups and everything. It's like that's created by fans.
Yeah,
it's not created by Rockstar.
Let's talk about it from a legal aspect, though. So, like, let's say, like, for instance, Bethesda's notorious about allowing modders to make whatever they want, and you can have Darth Vader running around shooting My Little Ponies out of his, blaster guns and stuff like that in Fallout. So many copyright issues with that, but it's at what point is it not Bethesda's game, and is it just
a public
thing where anybody can do whatever they want? And I think to this date, they don't really have legislation on that. I think that you can pretty much do whatever you want. Like, modding is the Wild West of entertainment right now. Huh. So, and I guarantee it'll be a problem one day.
I mean, I just know if I was the company and a bunch of people like this mod that this watching this person, I would offer them money to like, hey, let me buy your mod and put it into my game to where people can pay to play it. I mean,
Bethesda does it pretty smart because they allow free modding to be shared for free on all of their games.
Okay.
Yeah. Because even on the console, because they when they re-released Skyrim for the new consoles, they had like the modded edition stuff.
Console's a little bit different because
it's a little different, but on PC too, you could still like go and like you could look at all the mods, and it's like hit somebody with a sword, they turn into a giant chicken. Yeah, and it's like okay, I'll buy that.
That's good. But if you just you make everything into a giant boob in the game or something like that, if you have nudity or something like that, the consoles like Xbox particularly is gonna be careful with what you can can't do. But yeah, I do agree that like it's interesting how the players can just take the game and make it better.
Yeah,
and I wonder what does that mean for the gaming company's reputation? Are they okay with that? Is that like embarrassing? If Cyberpunk could be modded out the wazoo and be the game that Bethesda promised it would be, would it even be CD Projekt CD Projekt Red? Would it even be their game anymore?
I mean, I would say it's based on their original design.
Yeah.
So it's just adding almost like DLC to their game.
Yeah. I guess you have to get the modders to sign off saying that this is ours, the work that you did, you don't own it anymore, kind of thing. But here's what we'll pay you for it.
Here's money.
And then whatever it takes to figure that crap out.
Well, like in movies and stuff, when you buy someone's script or whatever, I would say it would be something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say it's more like somebody who cuts their own version of a movie.
Yeah.
Like the Godfather cut that got cut in a chronological order, and that was a fan-made thing first. And then I think Coppola finally said, okay, we can make that a cut. That's an official cut.
I could see it being like that, yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, that's all the news I have on
that
games
and stuff.
Yeah,
and everything.
Friggin'. One more time in honor of the Snyder cut, the Snyder cut,
the Snyder cut,
the schnozberries.
There's like schnozberries. These carrots taste kind of musky.
We're gonna have kind of a Q&A between the three of us here. Like, first question: what's your honest thoughts? Like, what do you think about the DC like as a whole?
I think a lot is riding on this movie.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the future of DC universe is about to be decided with this film.
I think it's hit and miss. Like there's some movies that I really love. Like they're in my top 5 out of superhero movies. And then there's others that I wish they would never made.
I think the DC executives are probably like the film-based executives. They're probably trying to get away from Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers has screwed them so much. So if they can kind of get in bed more with HBO and then get bought away from Warner Brothers, that's probably
Warner Brothers owns HBO.
Do they?
Yeah. That's why all the DC stuff is on there.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if they own them. I know they're heavily invested in HBO. I don't know if technically if they specifically own them.
Well, if they can have a different creative producer that doesn't like come down and say, you're going to do all of the Marvel phases in 2 years, something like that, that they need better leadership. That's all I can think of. And maybe Zack Snyder has got something with this. I don't think the movie's going to be as good as everybody says it's going to be. I'll be honest with you, Mitch. Just because there's so much re-hype over this movie. So much. It could be the Titanic. It could be,
this could be Citizen Kane on steroids.
Yeah, and somebody will still like
crap on it.
Yeah, and it's
I mean, there's no matter what, it could be the best movie in cinema history, and somebody's still gonna say they hate it.
Right, and
then we'll go beat that guy up.
But the problem is that the haters love to hate crap, and so they will hype on that hate train, and there'll be issues with it. So, now whether or not I like it, I don't know. I'm give it an honest try. Get clean slate. The original cut never existed as far as I'm concerned.
Well, like, out of the DC movies, which one was probably your favorite? I mean, not necessarily that it's your favorite movie, but out of the DC movies, which was probably your favorite?
Nolan trilogy included?
No. Out of the out of that too.
All right, Dark Knight.
Yeah, Dark Knight.
Just wondering. All right, we'll move on to the next question. Who is the best Batman in live action?
No, I was about to say animated series Batman.
Oh, live action.
I mean, you had Adam West, you had Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney,
Batfleck,
Christian Bale. Then you have Ben Affleck.
And now R-Pats.
Yeah, now you're going to have
R-Pats.
I mean,
R-Pats and Batfleck.
I think Patterson might be good, but I don't.
You can't really judge him yet. So.
Nah, he looks like he's like strung out on coke.
Now
he doesn't look like
emo.
Yeah, he doesn't look like Batman.
People just don't get his poetry. Okay.
Before they cast Ben Affleck as the Batman of the DC EU, whatever, Pattinson was the one that I thought should have been Bruce Wayne and Batman and stuff. Before I realized they were going to do like an older Batman. Just because I'd seen some of his movies like Cosmopolis and stuff like that, where I could see him being Bruce Wayne. He would have to, he'd have to show something to be the Batman side of it. But I totally believed he could be Bruce Wayne. So I'm excited to see the newer version. But as far as like what's been shown already, I think Ben Affleck's the best one because he fits the comic, Bruce Wayne and Batman.
He plays
sides.
that older, kind of grizzled out Batman. Like, he's on the ragged edge Batman.
I like Christian Bale. I think that sometimes he goes over the top with the growling Batman voice.
I mean, I thought he did good as Bruce Wayne. Just some things that he did as Batman, it was kind of comical.
Yeah, but I do appreciate because like I like movies that are not shot for shot exactly like the comics. Okay, I do think that there is a medium in film, and the question that people should ask themselves when they're adapting is what would be different about putting this into film? Why put it in film? And if you're just doing shot for shot, like the exact framework as the comic books are, so to have the Christian Bale Batman, which is pretty much different than any other pre-existing Batmans and comics included, correct? Yeah. I thought that was pretty good, and I enjoyed that.
Well, it's because there's Nolan kind of based his more in reality as opposed to like the comic book world. He based, what Batman would be like if it was in a real world kind of thing, which is the same thing they did with Superman as well. Yeah, in the more recent stuff. But I mean, I liked Bale, but I still think Affleck. He looked more like the Batman from the
Justice.
Yeah.
Do you bleed?
All right, next one. Who's the best Superman in live action?
Christopher Reeves.
You had Christopher Reeves. You've had
who's the guy that
Brandon
killed
Roth.
himself?
I forgot that one, but that was way before Reeves.
I mean, he was really the character.
40s.
The dude that thought he was Superman jumped out of a window and died.
He shot himself.
No.
Yeah, he shot himself.
Did he shoot himself?
Yeah.
Was it because he thought he could stop the bullet?
I don't remember.
Wasn't there some story about a character or a guy who played Superman and he like was convinced he was Superman?
Maybe. Or that was a weird dream you had?
All right, let me ask Dr. Google. Keep talking.
Anyways, which one do you think is the best?
I mean, Henry Cavill looks like Superman in real life, which it's not fair to any other males existing on the planet that guy looks like that. But then you get like Christopher Reeves, like he played Clark Kent and Superman so well. Like he was a bumbling kind of guy. He'd be dropping things, and then like immediately he would do something like brutally athletic, and it'd just be like, oh, nobody saw that.
To me, I mean, granted, Christopher Reeves was like the original Superman. That's just not the Superman I grew up with. Like as far as Clark Kent acting the way he does. That's why I always liked the Smallville Clark Kent. Now, granted, I don't know how good he'd be as Superman because you never see him as Superman really. But I do like Henry Cavill as Superman. But I liked Tom Welling as Clark Kent.
Christopher, he had the nuances of both people.
Yeah,
like it was like he was acting as two different people. It's like, all right, I'm playing Clark Kent. Suits cut weird. He's he moves differently. He talks differently.
Yeah,
everything's different about him. And then when he rips open the shirt and you see the S, and it's like, no, now he's Superman.
Yeah, he did the best as far as like making essentially two different people the same person, which I did like that. That was pretty cool.
And we cut back to Hayden.
Yeah, I can't find anything. He did shoot himself. It was George Reeves was his name.
Yeah, that's right.
Apparently, don't cast a person named Reeves as your Superman.
Yeah, they end up getting hurt or injured or killed.
It is believed that he was in a sitting position in the bed, allegedly shot himself. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about him. Like, look what I can do.
I'm Superman. Call 911.
Yeah. It's alleged that it's depression caused by a failed career. All right.
Now, who do you like as the best actor or actress is so far in the DCU? Like, I mean, including you do Heath Ledger's Joker, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, whatever.
Michael Caine as Bruce.
Sir Michael.
So Michael Caine is Alfred.
I think Heath Ledger would probably be the first guy that forced the Academy and like the Hollywood snobby elites to be like, okay, this comic book medium is something that we can take seriously, because up until then it was just considered like whatever Scorsese says about comic book movies. He says they're not real movies.
Yeah, I saw that whole thing where he kind of bashed everyone in the comic book movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you say Ledger?
Isn't Shutter Island based off of a comic book?
I don't know.
Or a graphic novel or something like that. I think it is.
Which is stupid for him to say.
It's a toughie. All those movies. Yeah, I mean Heath Ledger's Joker was really, really, really good. I'd probably have to say that one. Nobody else acted their part that well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously I liked Heath Ledger's Joker, and then the other one, even though it's not like as big a stage, I liked Stephen Amell's Arrow. He played a pretty good, convincing character of Oliver Queen.
He did play good Oliver Queen.
And let's see.
Dean Cain.
Forgot about him as Superman. But yeah, that guy. Now, not necessarily saying DC versus Marvel, but what do you like better? Realistic comic book movies or like the full fantasy kind of comic movies?
It depends.
Because you have stuff like The Crow, which it's kind of realistic. I mean, he still has a superpower, but it's more based in reality kind of world.
Yeah, no. I mean, so it's not a matter of what's real and what's not. It's a matter of how you can convince the audience to suspend their disbelief to a point where they're okay with everything. Yeah. Okay? Like, The Crow, there's no, like, the cops are just ignorant of everything that goes on around there.
That's every movie just about.
So, like, that's kind of one of my biggest problems with The Crow is, like, it's so, not that he's got supernatural powers, he can't die, blah, 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 but it's more like society just ignores the fact that people are just murdering people left and right in the streets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had people going after them. They didn't have enough people to sustain the crime.
If any of that stuff,
if it was Chicago.
I'm just saying, like,
6 of those officers.
If it's not how it would be in reality, then you need to explain just enough where people could allow it to be, disbelieved and then move on. Not just this whole, like, because in reality, if something like that happened, there would be a manhunt. Like, there would be people going crazy.
It'd be all over the news.
Yeah.
And it's just like, another Tuesday. There's another gang war going on down there.
6 people shot and killed.
So,
oh, well. Today with the weather.
Yeah, I think it depends entirely on how you portray the suspension of disbelief. Like, that's what some DC aspects can do well, like, because the whole Krypton craziness and stuff like that, we don't know how their world works. Yeah. They can do whatever they want, But what's funny is the newer iterations of how Krypton and the Superman origin exists, the comic book diehard fanboys get butthurt because it's not as this comic book has said up to this point. Why does it matter? It's not. You know,
this alien from space who's basically a god on Earth. It's like, oh, this wasn't as accurate as it was in the comic books. Wow, really?
Yeah.
The guy could shoot laser beams out his eyes. Has X-ray, any superpower known
Superman's
to man.
dad was never a scientist. Blah blah blah.
Jor-El didn't do that.
Well, and that's the reason I like the Snyder and Nolan films, just because they are based more realistic. Like, we're like, Superman and Batman versus Superman. Half the world hated him, half the world loved him because he had all this power, but he didn't like affiliate with anyone. So, like the governments didn't like him because they couldn't control him.
I think at one point Superman should have stopped and like looked at all the toppling skyscrapers and been like, "Huh, crap." Like what exactly am I helping right now?
This is going to take a lot of time to clean up.
Yeah, but granted, he was causing a big mess, but if he didn't stop Zod was going to destroy the whole planet anyways.
I know. Just saying.
A few city blocks or the world,
You can stop to get the cat out of the tree every once in a while.
You can't please everybody, guys.
All right, well, that's the main stuff I had. Like, who would, I guess, out of the DC universe, what kind of hero, like, which hero would you like to see the most of that hasn't been in a film so far that you know of?
Oh, that hasn't been in a film? Well, does it have to be a hero or can it be a character?
Well, we can do hero, and then I had another question for villain. So,
okay,
which hero and villain would you like to see?
I want Terry McGinnis Batman.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I want Batman Beyond.
John Stewart was always my favorite.
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern. And so I'd like to have him in.
Definitely not Guy Gardner.
And John Stewart is supposed to have a role in the HBO Max TV series it's supposed to have.
Okay.
So
I was hoping they were gonna. Is it gonna be the guy that plays Diggle?
I
from
have no
Arrow.
Idea. He's supposed to show back up in like the CW.
They find out like
Arrowverse.
Diggle's like his like adopted name, or whatever, and his last name's actually Stewart.
Yeah, he's supposed to show back up in the CW like Arrowverse kind of thing, but I don't know about the HBO Max series or not.
I don't know. There you go.
All right, well, that's all the questions I had. I just
we're not going to talk about.
We discuss a little bit.
We're going to talk about what?
You said we had one about villains.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, hero and villain.
Oh,
Trigon.
I don't know much about villains. I always like Lobo, I guess.
He's there's rumors that he's going to have an HBO Max series.
Isn't Lobo like a bit of hero, a bit of bad?
Yeah, basically he's a cosmic bounty hunter.
I think if Superman punches you in the face, it counts. All right.
Yeah. So Superman has to hit you.
Well, yeah. He's had a bounty to hunt down Superman because he's the last Kryptonian. Brainiac actually hired him to go find Superman and bring him to in one story, but it's pretty neat. Like he's as strong as Superman, but he can't fly, but he has like this cosmic like motorcycle, but he can heal from a drop of blood.
John DiMaggio, I think, did the voice of him in the cartoons, which was the voice of Bender. And
bite my shiny bounty hunter.
Yeah, I always thought it was funny. All right, we got to wrap it up, though.
I did want to see Trigon, though, because in that DC Dark crap where Darkseid or Raven releases Trigon into Superman.
Yeah.
And he turns Super Trigon. And starts fighting Darkseid, but Darkseid's still kicking his butt.
Well, see, like the first,
and then they release Trigon fully, and Darkseid's just getting the snot beaten out of him. He's just like crawling away, and he's like, "Where are you going?" It's like, "Oh yeah!" And he launches him into space.
The first season of the show Titans had him in it, but technically he like inhabited someone's body, so it wasn't him. It was just some other actor.
He was limited.
Yeah, it was kind of limited in what they did, but it was an interesting storyline. But I wouldn't mind seeing him too. Hopefully, he'll be something like the Justice League Dark bad guy or something like that.
That would be cool. So, since you didn't watch your punishment, you get punished again.
I know,
Mr. T. And
are we doing just like a TV show?
You pick what you want to punish him with. He's got my Mr. T show, so
get it over with.
You deliberately picked it up and scratched it. You deliberately didn't watch the show.
Do you scratch my CD?
I don't know what this show is. I just read it was horrible.
All right.
The Sanjay and Craig.
I have heard of this show.
This is not it. This is an ad.
Sanjay and Craig. The Bob's Burgers animation or something?
Hayden's going to end up liking this.
I might. Like the animation's funny. What is it, the regular show?
Yeah.
That kind of animation. So Sanjay, I take it, is the little Indian kid.
Yeah, and I'm guessing Craig is the snake.
There's a snake. All right. We'll see.
Talking snake named Craig.
What wacky adventures ensue.
Sanjay and Craig and Mr. T.
It should have been like, you have to watch the Mr. T live action show from like TV.
Oh my gosh. I just like turn into Mr. T.
He's going to come in with just a bunch of gold.
I think they show him with gold chains and rings. Shave his head to a mohawk.
Yeah.
Hello, fool.
Just put some Velcro on top of my head. Well, we will see what exciting reviews I have for that stuff in the next episode, which will be episode 50. Yay! All right, well, look at our social mediums and, give Mitch advice on how terrible his website is. And thanks so much for listening. Goodbye from Mitch.
Bye.
Bye, Mitch.
Goodbye from Tam.
Bye,
And
Tom.
goodbye from me, Hayden. Goodbye.
Goodbye.